It appeared that Tori Spelling was beginning to pick up some of Shannen Doherty's partying ways.
Shannen was seeming to be a bad influence on Tori, who had been a good girl all her life, and then suddenly while Shannon's out partying, Tori's by her side smoking cigarettes and having fights with her boyfriend and leaving clubs in tears. Just all this drama surrounded Shannen.
People thought that Aaron Spelling might want to sort of break up that friendship.
Things that I did that weren't necessarily diplomatic and that got blown incredibly out of proportion. You know, I take blame for some of it, absolutely, but I was 18, 19 years old, you know.
The media loves a bad boy or a bad girl. So my sense is that certainly some of the stories about Shannon's problems on the set were overblown. I think somehow because Shannen has this really tough side, that I think she got knocked a little harder maybe. It's the sexism of our culture, and I think it hits stronger women who maybe don't have as soft and vulnerable a side, for instance, as Jenny did, who's also strong, but made her career out of her vulnerability.
Shannen seemed more and more miserable on set with habitual lateness an ongoing issue. One morning as shooting for the 4th season neared its end, Shannen showed up late while the cast and crew waited for her at 7 a.m. Members of the crew were fed up and called Aaron Spelling to the set. He requested a closed-door meeting with Shannen that would change the course of her career. It was January of 1994. After 4 seasons, the producers of Beverly Hills 90210 were fed up with Shannen Doherty's bad behavior, on and off set. So the producers made an announcement. Shannen Doherty would be leaving the show that had made her a superstar.
Shannen maintained at the time that she left the show because she felt like her character had run her course and that she wanted to devote herself more fully to her recent marriage to Ashley Hamilton, George Hamilton's 19-year-old son.
Even though Shannen Doherty was presenting her leaving 90210 as this great opportunity, I think the people saw through that because it was a hit show, it was a beloved show, and she was a core member, and all of a sudden she was leaving, which is usually not a good thing.
Shannen was also facing challenges in her personal life. Her fuller devotion to her husband did not improve their relationship. In March of 1994, her marriage to Ashley Hamilton ended in divorce.
Ashley Hamilton and Shannen only dated for 2 weeks before they got married that September, and then their marriage lasted all of 195 days.
But later that year, it looked like things were starting to get better for Shannen. She met a new boyfriend, screenwriter Rob Weiss, and her career got a boost when she was cast in the new film by indie director Kevin Smith, Mallrats.
Shannen Doherty was in Kevin Smith's Mallrats, which was a good career move for her because it was a way for her to get some indie cred after having been on this super, mainstream, sudsy, nighttime Aaron Spelling show.
Appearing in that movie showed that Shannen Doherty could in fact be taken seriously in these much more iconic types of films at the time. It really gives her a kind of street cred.
If you think that I'm going to suffer any more your with a smile now that we're broken up, you're in for some serious disappointment.
I'm an actor, and I do have a range. And I can go from something incredibly serious that's a period piece that's Southern to a very, very hip generational movie.
Riding high on the success of Mallrats, Shannen and Rob Weiss announced their engagement in December of 1995. But Shannen's career soon began to stall. Though she worked relatively steadily over the next 3 years, it was mostly in made-for-TV movies. It looked like this once bright star was fading fast. But in 1998, Shannen got the chance to return to a primetime series, Charmed, on the WB. Hollywood was shocked that the producer who cast her was none other than her 90210 nemesis, Aaron Spelling.
It was certainly surprising that he would want to work with her again, given their previous difficulties. But he said she was a great actress, and it was really a shrewd move because what kind of crazy amounts of press are you going to get with this pairing again?
I don't think when Aaron Spelling rehired Shannen Doherty to be one of the 3 stars of Charmed, he was doing that out of some noblesse oblige to say, oh, I've forgiven you, I'm going to give you one more chance, all the rest of it. I think he did it because he realized that she would be a potential real draw for that show.
Charmed was about 3 sisters who live in San Francisco, and it turns out that they're witches.
There's almost the pun, almost the verbal joke of Shannen Doherty's back, and she's a witch. I mean, the headlines wrote themselves over that one.
Shannen played the eldest of the 3 Hallowell sisters. Her character's name was Prue, and each of the sisters had a special witchy power. Shannen was telekinetic.
Prue, wait, I can explain.
Don't bother.
Oh, it's not what you think. We divorced her.
She was the one who was career-driven, and she was sensible.
Sorry, I'm late. What else is new? No, Piper, I would have been here to meet the electrician myself, but you know I can't leave the museum until 6. I haven't even had time to change.
Charmed was a hit for its time. Charmed will never have the kind of cultural penetration that Beverly Hills 90210 had and continues to have in the nostalgia market and all the rest of it. But it ran for a number of seasons.
It was a very popular show.
With this second chance, Shannen threw herself into the role, and she was rewarded. She was twice nominated for a Saturn Award for acting. She even tested her chops as a director on 3 of its episodes.
She goes after what she wants. She's tough. And I think that a lot of young girls want to have that aspect of themselves developed and want to see that in a character.
But Shannen seemed to be exhibiting some old habits that could sabotage her comeback.
With Charmed, history may have repeated itself. The rumors circulated that she had real rivalries and real difficulties with Alyssa Milano, the same way she had had real rivalry and difficulties with Jenny Garth on 90210.
It didn't help that Shannen kept up her bad girl image offset as well. She'd once again broken off an engagement, this time with Rob Weiss. And more trouble was on the way.
Shannen is a badass through and through. She was actually sentenced to anger management classes after she broke a beer bottle through the windshield of a 22-year-old fan who she later claimed was drunk and bothering her.
In late 2000, Shannen was arrested for DUI. She'd been spotted on a California freeway at 3 in the morning, weaving back and forth across lanes.
I think her blood alcohol was 0.13, which was well above the 0.08 legal limit in California.
She ultimately pleaded no contest and actually ended up giving speeches to teens about the dangers of driving under the influence.
Then in 2001, Shannen shocked her fans. After 3 successful years on Charmed, she asked to be let out of her contract.
She was having trouble with her co-stars, and also some people speculated she just may become bored with the whole series television commitment. Probably she should have stuck with the show because it was a great popular hit for the WB, and once again she was strapped with that label, difficult.
There seems to be a consistent theme that trouble seems to surround her frequently.
Being the lead in a TV show, particularly an hour show, is a tremendous amount of pressure. It's pressure just on your time, on your sleep. You can't do anything else if you're the lead while you're doing that show. And perhaps she's just the kind of personality that can only take that for a few years before she's just got to get out.
For the second time in a decade, Shannen Doherty had left a hit series with nothing waiting in the wings. She'd thrown away her second chance. No one thought she'd get a third. In 2001, at the age of 30, Shannen Doherty found herself in a familiar situation. She had left a popular Aaron Spelling production at its peak, her reputation as an actress hanging in the balance. She was at a crossroads, but she knew she was ready to be taken more seriously as an actress.
Shannen is kind of a perfectionist, and that can be a pressure cooker for people. If it's got to be perfect, it's got to be exactly the way they want it to be. And, you know, on television, that's really hard to do because there's so many other people involved, and you're moving along so quickly.
Shortly after leaving Charmed, Shannen made a brief cameo appearance in Kevin Smith's Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.